Almost ready, guys. Oh, come on. Okay, copy. Just trying to put the video on my website so I don't have to do that later. And should be ready to go any second now. April 16th. Publish. Okay. Okay, here we go. You guys can hear me okay? I don't have my screen up yet. Oh, shoot. Okay, sorry about that. Here we go. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Full screen projector, there we go. And here we go. Okay. Hey, there I am. Okay, so we're gonna get started in just a second. I just want to start by saying thank you to those of you who have filled out the feedback form. If you haven't done that already, I really encourage you to do that. It'll really help me plan for the last semester. I've read through all the feedback so far. It's been really helpful. I really appreciate that. There's been some really good ideas that I like. Yeah, some people are saying that there's certain things that work really well. Some people are saying some really useful information about the homework. So I think most people are finding the homework to be just a little much. There's it's not crazy. It seems like it's not completely unreasonable, but it is a little on the high end. So I'm going to keep that in mind. When I assign homework going forward, I'm going to do my best not to overwhelm you and to make sure that everything's okay in terms of your workload. Because the purpose of homework is to practice, right? That's why we do it, is to practice. And it seems kind of obvious, but sometimes it's easy to forget that. Yeah, we're doing it so we can practice this stuff. It's not to make your life miserable. So if it's too much, then and you're kind of just not doing all of it anyways, then I may as well just not assign the stuff that you're not doing yet. So we're gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna sort of keep reading your suggestions, and I'll make adjustments as I go. But yeah, I really appreciate the feedback. It's really important for me to get feedback. And I'm just trying to say, comments are turned off. I don't think I have a live chat on YouTube right now. Usually there's a little box that says people's chats. Let me see if I can... Oh, here we go. It's because I made it for kids. You have to... here we go. Okay, so yeah, there's a live chat now. So now if you're on YouTube, you can talk to me. Great. Okay, so we're gonna just do a few more examples today with radical equations. It's going to be a short class today. It's going to be probably 20 minutes ish. I don't want to go overboard here. Just a quick announcement. Friday, that's tomorrow, there's no school. I don't know how this one flew under my radar. Usually, most of the time when you have a day off, you kind of know about it ahead of time. But I just completely forgot and didn't really realize that tomorrow is a day off. I mean, it's really more a day off for you than it is for me. I'm still going to be working. I still have to write report cards and this and that, and I'm going to do some planning and kind of catch up with myself a little bit. But for you, it's just a through and through day off. So grant it's a grant, as far as I know, it's a Grant Park only day off, which is kind of nice. And the purpose of the day off is it's a wellness day. And I really like that. And we actually had planned this wellness day before we planned it before this whole coronavirus nonsense came out, and I think that it couldn't come at a better time, because it's really easy to forget to take care of yourself and to make sure that you're well and that you're doing okay and that you're taking care of yourself and that your needs are being met. So yeah, tomorrow is going to be a wellness day, and I hope that you can take advantage of that and think of some ways of taking care of yourself and making sure that you're doing okay, and that if there's anything that you can do to make yourself a little bit happier than you already are, then you should try to do that. So whatever that looks like, that's really up to you. Maybe you go for a walk, maybe you go for a bike ride, as long as you stay safe and respect social distancing practices, and maybe you stay inside and draw a picture, or maybe you have a nice long bath, or whatever. It's important to take care of yourself, and tomorrow is specifically a wellness day, so I think you should take advantage of that, and see how that goes. So today I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to do a few examples, and we'll just we'll call it quits after, let's say, 2 examples. I'm just going to choose 2 examples from your book, and we'll call it a day. Now, keep in mind, Monday I'm going to start taking attendance, and I've already talked about that already. But just to be clear, it's not the sort of thing that's going to be reported on your report card. You're not going to be getting a phone call home every time you don't sign into the live stream, or you don't fill out a exit slip or whatever. The purpose of the attendance is just for the school division to collect data on the proportion of students who are attending. It's not about you in particular. It's kind of about all the students, and we just want to know how many students are actually participating in the distance learning that we've set up. Okay, so let's do this example here, and this looks like kind of a long example, so it's possible we don't actually do 2 full examples. We might even just do 1. We'll see. So I just want to do a radicals example. Okay, so we're going to do this one from the book. So I'm going to solve this radical equation. So that's going to be 7 plus root 3x equals root 5x plus 4, root 5x plus 4 plus 5. Okay, so that's what we're going to solve today. So yeah, we're just going to jump right into it and see where it takes us. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to know what the restrictions on my radical are. So my restrictions are, the radicands have to be greater than 0, or greater than or equal to 0. So this has to be greater than or equal to 0. That has to be greater than or equal to 0. So we need that 3x must be greater than or equal to 0, which means that x must be greater than or equal to 0, right? Oh, am I making sure I'm doing okay? Yes, I am. I'm doing very well. Not to say that things are going swimmingly. I mean, obviously, I don't know anyone who's doing completely fine. But all things considered, I'm finding myself to be quite lucky, particularly because I have this. This is kind of my lifeline right now. This gives me something to do all day. A lot of my friends, they've been laid off, right? I have quite a few friends in the restaurant industry, and they just have no job. Thankfully, we live in Canada, and we have this incredible program. The I think it's called the CURB program, or CERB. I haven't spoken to anyone about it. I've only seen the word. I don't know how to pronounce it. The Canadian Economic Relief Benefit, I think it is, and that's where you get, I think it's $2,000 a month if you've been laid off because of COVID-19. So a lot of my friends are in pretty rough shape, but they're getting some income, which is really important, so they can continue to pay rent and to eat food and all of that. But I feel really bad for them, especially because they have nothing to do all day. And you know, as great as that sounds, I think that it's a big, you know, misconception that like paradise is doing nothing. It's not true. It's not true. And you know, I think that, and it took me a while to figure this out, but I remember when I was in high school, that's all I wanted to do. I just couldn't wait for summer vacation, and then I could chill out and do nothing. But really, I didn't do nothing. I hung out with my friends. I went skateboarding. I went for bike rides. I, you know, got into all kinds of hijinks and trouble and stuff, and that was really fun and engaging, and I didn't do nothing. Doing nothing sucks. It's awful to do nothing. So having this for me is fantastic because it gives me something to do. And would I rather be in a classroom seeing your face? Absolutely. I really miss seeing everyone's face. I really miss your voices. I miss everything about even just like the smell of the classroom and the windows and everything about it. I miss it. But this is pretty good too. I really enjoy doing this. It's obviously, like I say, it's not best case scenario, but I think all things considered, this is pretty close to best case scenario. I have my job. I have an occupation. I'm occupied with this. I'm busy. My brain is engaged. I've got responsibilities, deadlines, and that sort of thing is really healthy for your well-being. So personally, that it works really well for me. So thank you for asking if I'm doing okay. I'm doing pretty well. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this question. So the restrictions on this are that x must be greater than or equal to 0 because of this first radical. That's what this first radical is telling us. And then this second radical, this one is saying, okay, well 5x plus 4 must be greater than or equal to 0. Must be greater than or equal to 0. Therefore, x, and I'm just going to do this really quick, x must be greater than or equal to negative 4/5. And both of these things must be true. So x has to be greater than 0, and it also has to be greater than negative 4/5. Well, this one kind of like supersedes this one. And what I mean by that is if x is greater than or equal to 0, then x is also greater than or equal to negative 4/5. It has to be. So this is actually the only restriction on x that we need. So the only restriction on x is that x is greater than or equal to 0. This second one here, this is redundant. Redundant means it's extra information that you don't really need. It's kind of like saying, like if you're like a senior, like if you're like 65 years or older, then you don't need to worry about being old enough to get your driver's license, right? Like that's redundant. You already can, right? So it's like, okay, if x is greater than or equal to 0, then of course x is already greater than or equal to negative 4/5. So my restrictions are just, so the restrictions are that x is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, now let's start to solve this. So I'm gonna start by rewriting the equation so I have something to work with. And then I've got root 5x plus 4 plus 5, okay, plus 5. And I'm going to isolate one of the radicals. That's what I'm going to start with. So I'm going to have root 3x. I'm going to have 3x by itself. And this is going to be root 5x plus 4 plus, and then I've subtracted 7 from both sides, so this is actually going to be minus 2. That's good. I'm going to square both sides, so that gets rid of this root 3x, and we're perfectly capable of doing that because we know that x is greater than or equal to 0. That's the whole point of the restrictions, is that we're not going to run into any problems when we get rid of those radical symbols, and we also don't have to worry about taking the square root of a negative number. And when I do that, well, I'm going to do this rather quickly. I've got 5x plus 4 because I've squared root 5x. Now I'm going to have root 5x plus 4 times negative 2, and I'm going to have 2 of those, so it's going to be minus 4 root 5x plus 4. And if you don't see where that comes from, I suggest you trying a few of these problems for yourself, and you'll kind of get the hang of how to get this middle term. And then finally we've got -2 times -2, which is +4. Okay, now let's clean all that up, put everything over to the other side, and then solve for that final radical. So I'm going to just get rid of these brackets. We don't need them. They're not doing anything. They're redundant. And we'll bring everything over to the other side. So I'm going to sort of clean this up a little bit before I do that. So I've got a 4 and a 4, which is 8. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Okay, so I've got 8 over here, so then I'm going to subtract 5x and subtract 8 from both sides, and I'll have -2x minus 8 equals -4 times the root 5x plus 4. Okay, and now I've isolated that second radical, so that's good. And now I'm going to square both sides. So I'm going to square both sides. So I'm going to square this, I'm going to square that, and what I'm left with is, when I square the thing on the left, I've got positive 4x squared, and I've got negative 2x times negative 8 times 2, so that's going to be negative 32x, and then negative 8 times negative 8, which is plus 64, and now I've got plus 16 times 5x plus 4. Okay, now I expand everything out. I'm going to use the distributive property here. The distributive property. Okay, awesome. And this is going to give me, well, 16 times 5 is 80x, and 16 times 4 is 64. So plus 64, and I've got 64 over here, minus 32x, 4x squared. Okay, now I can start moving everything to the other side. So I've got 64 and 64. These are going to cancel because I'm going to subtract 64 from both sides. And then I'm going to subtract 80 from both sides. So that gives me 4x squared minus, well, 80 plus 32 is, what is it, 112? I think it's 112. 112. Because 3 plus 8 is 11. Yeah, it's 112. 112x. And that's all equal to 0. Okay, getting there. So I'm gonna factor out a 4. I think that I can factor out a 4. So I'll do 4 times x squared minus, well, how many times does 4 go into 112? Let me just see here. 112. I'm gonna just do a quick short division. So 4 goes into 11 twice, and 4 times 2 is 8. So I've got 3 left over. 4 goes into 32 8 times, so it's equal to 28. So this is going to be 28x. Okay, and that's equal to 0. And I'm doing that so that I can basically get rid of that 4. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by a quarter, and then that just cancels with that, and that cancels with that, because anything times 0 is 0. I know I'm going really fast, but if you get stuck on something and you don't understand, you can always go back to YouTube and pause it. So 28x equals 0, and now I'm going to factor out an x. So I've got x times x minus 28 equals 0. So what we have now is that x is going to be, sorry, I'm sniffling. It's from my sneeze. I've got some allergies today. So my solutions are x equals 0 or x equals 28. And you might say, well, hold on a second. Let's go back to our restrictions. That's what I was actually just doing a second ago. Going back to our restrictions. Our restrictions are that x must be greater than or equal to 0. One of our solutions is that x is equal to 0. Is that a problem? I don't know. It says here, x can be equal to 0. That's not a problem if x is equal to 0. It's right on the edge. It's right on the edge. But it is fine. So we actually can calculate this. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've got these two solutions. Now let's check our answer, because remember we have to check our answers with this. So we're going to check our answer, and let's do that. So the original question was, I'm just going to copy it out again, 7 plus square root of 3x equals root 5x plus 4, oops, 5x plus 4, what is that, plus 5. Okie dokes. Okay, so let's try the 0 one first. So let's try x equals 0. So we would have 7, and I'll do it in a different color just to make it look nice. So I've got 7 plus, well, the square root of 3 times 0 is 0, so that should be easy to calculate. Then I've got 5 times 0 plus 4. That should also be fairly easy to calculate, plus 5. So let's see if this works. So I've got 7 plus, well, 3 times 0 is 0. The square root of 0 is 0. So I've got 7 equals, well, 5 times 0 is 0. So 0 plus 4 is 4. So I've got the square root of 4 plus 5. And yeah, this is looking like it would work. So 7 is equal to, well, the square root of 4 is 2 plus 5. And yes, 7 is indeed equal to 7. So that's good. Okay, let's try the other one. Let's try x equals 28. This one might be a little harder to calculate, but that's fine. So I've got 7, and I'm starting to think I made a mistake somewhere. Yeah, I think I made a mistake. What did I do here? How did I get 28? You'll have to bear with me for a second. Yeah, I think I made a mistake somewhere here. Because 28 should not be a solution. 28 does not work. Okay, what did I do here? Got negative 2x minus 8. Okay. You know what? What am I going to do about this? Yeah? Yes, there it is. Thank you very much. So that should be positive, and then I'm going to subtract 80 from that. So I'm going to get negative. So 80 minus 32 is 48. There it is. Aha. And I can still factor out a 4. Excuse me. I can still factor out a 4. That's 12. And yeah, there we go. Excuse me. So that's 12. Good. And that's still 12. So these are our different possibilities. X equals 0 or x equals 12. Fantastic. So, okay, let's try these. Okay, so we already did 0. 0 works. Now let's try 12. That looks better. Thank you for finding that for me. Yeah, I really appreciate that. So let's try this. This looks like it should work. Okay, so I've got 7 plus the square root of 3 times 12 is equal to 5 times 12 plus 4 plus 5. Okay, when I do that, I'm going to have 7 plus the square root of 36 equals the square root of, well, 5 times 12 is 60. 60 plus 4 is 64 plus 5. So I've got 7 plus the square root of 36 is 6. That's equal to square root of 64 is 8 plus 5. And I've got that 13 is indeed equal to 13. So both of these solutions work. So give yourself 2 check marks there. So we're gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I think we'll just end a little bit early. We've got a nice long weekend to look forward to. So, like I say, if you haven't already given me some feedback, I ask that you please do it. It's really gonna help out, and also it gives you an opportunity to have your voice heard. I really do appreciate also some of the honesty that people have given me, particularly in whether or not you're actually watching the live streams. I'm not going to use that data against you. That's not really about that. It just helps me get a sense of how many people are actually watching them. Some people are saying that they're not watching it live, but they're watching it after the fact. That's perfectly fine by me. Some people are saying that they're not watching it at all. Some people are saying that they are watching most of them. That it really helps me. Like it really does, and it's not about trying to get someone in trouble for not watching the live stream or something like that. I just really want to know kind of what the numbers are and that kind of thing. So please fill that out and have a good long weekend. On Monday, like I said, we'll start taking attendance. Yeah, if you have any questions too about any of the work, I know that I've assigned some work for. Did I? I don't think I did actually assign any homework for this section. Yeah, why don't we leave it? Well, we had the long weekend. I'm gonna leave just a few questions for you. I'm gonna get you to do. Okay, so I'll assign just a little bit of homework, but I'll try not to make it too overwhelming. Let's do questions 1 to 10 odds. Okay, so it's actually 1 to 9 odds, right? So just the odd numbered ones. So that should kind of take the load off a little bit, and then we'll just do one of the kind of long answer questions. So we'll do. Let's do. This is a good one because it has applications to physics. So let's do number 21 and number 21. So that'll be your homework. So I'm hoping that that's a little bit better because one of the things that I did hear a lot of people say was that I think the average was something like 7.5 out of 10, where 5 was just right, 1 was too little, 10 was way too much, and 5 was just right. And I think most people were kind of between just right and like way too much. So I'm gonna try to just knock it down just a little bit to try to adjust for that, because there's no point in assigning homework that people aren't gonna do. So I'll try to just make these homework assignments just a little more realistic, because I do want you to do the homework. So maybe if I assign a smaller amount, then it'll encourage you to actually do it and complete it. So like I said, I'll still be working tomorrow. I'm still around. So if you have any questions about the homework, I'll be around and I'll be happy to answer your questions. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna sign out and I will talk to you guys on Monday. Yeah, go ahead. Oh yes, good question. Page 301. Page 301. Yeah, so that would be that's our last section on radical equations. Okay. So that is, what is that? 5.3, section 5.3. So section 5.3. And I'll put that on the website as well, for everyone to have as a record. Okay, well, yeah, I hope you have a good long weekend, and I will talk to you guys on Monday. Oh, and my iPad is kind of crapping out. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'll see you later, guys. Bye bye.